So you've got your brand, you're building your content, but how do you make sure that it looks and feels like you across every platform? That's what today's video is all about. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Let's go ahead and get into 3 super easy strategies to keep your brand consistent. So whether people are seeing you on social media, your email, or even your website, they're seeing you and your messaging is the same. Strategy number 1, establishing your core brand guidelines. This is how your brand looks and feels to your target audience. So we're talking about the colors, the fonts, and the tone. All of these pieces come together to bring your brand together visually. When I decided to rebrand my agency Davi Creative and my personal brand in 2023, I went on Fiverr to hire a branding expert. This expert helped me choose my colors and my fonts and helped me redesign my logo. I wanted to make sure that I had that vibrant appeal in my colors and I keep my motivational tone. So I made sure that I let her know that. But what was also important to me was I needed teal to be a part of my brand color. Since I knew that teal was going to be one of the 4 colors, I ended up going with like a gold color, a lighter tan color, and then an off-white. And then black and white is always going to be added to your brand colors. Having the right colors and being consistent in the colors that you post online really matters because it builds credibility and it makes you memorable. When your audience is able to recognize your colors, your fonts, your tone of voice, you build trust and credibility. Strategy number 2, streamline your messaging and tone. So this is where you want to really decide on your brand voice and tone. You want to have a consistent way of speaking. So whether it's professional, laid back, or fun, this is going to allow your audience to know what to expect. When I became a full-time content creator in 2020, I had a different tone of voice. So I had a motivational voice, which I still have. It's very uplifting, it's authoritative, it's positive, it's very fun. However, the dynamic in my tone and pitch has changed drastically. I recognize, and it's so crazy when you go back and look at your other content, I recognize that I was actually yelling at the camera, which in hindsight, I'm yelling at my audience. It turned me off. So I was like, wow, how did I even get people watching my content? Because it was such a turn off for me. And I realized that my volume was just way too high. And over the years, I've softened my volume a little bit. I'm still a loud person, but I'm definitely even slower in my speech. At least I try, because I do get excited. I have made those adjustments over the years. And this change honestly just took a lot of self-reflection, but just transformative growth. We grow, we should always be evolving. I think what happened was when I first got into the motivational speaking industry in 2018, I was very much watching a lot of motivational speakers, Les Brown, Tony Robbins, Eric Thomas, Trent Shelton, Inky Johnson. I was watching some of the great speakers in our era. And I really started to pick up a lot of their tone and the way that they would present information. And I thought that's the way you're supposed to present information and speak. But as I grew in my craft, I started to hone into my own personal skills and my own tone of voice and just finding myself being comfortable in who I was. So overall, it's just important that you remember to come across friendly and engaging on social media, and also take note of the different platforms. Like platforms like LinkedIn, you're gonna wanna have a more professional tone, and you can adjust and shift that tone a bit when you hop on a different platform like maybe Instagram or TikTok. But what's important is that your tone and the way you present information is you. And finally, strategy number 3 is align your visuals and content across all platforms. This strategy is gold because it creates consistency for your audience and it allows them to keep coming back for more because they know what to expect. So you want to match your content style. This is where you use similar like themes or visuals to kind of tie everything together. So for instance, you might use a very similar hook for all of your videos. You might use a similar, let's say, what do you call that? I just blanked. Give me a second. Filter for your images. You want it to be consistent. And so we call this like aesthetic, right? This can also be like an aesthetic. If you're like scrolling Instagram, you'll notice that some creators or some brands have a certain aesthetic. Your audience gets familiar with that, and that's what builds that loyalty and trust, and they keep coming back for more because they know what to expect from you. So quick story, when I first started creating content on LinkedIn, I started to kind of pick up momentum, and one day, I don't even know why I did this, I decided to say, hey bestie with the little hand wave. So hey, hand wave, and bestie. And then I started my post. I probably posted a picture with the content. And it took off. I was kind of quite shocked. Like in the comment section, I saw a lot of people saying, hey bestie, what's going on today? And then it began when people would DM me, they will start with, hey bestie, I have a quick question to ask you. And I was like, whoa, this is interesting. Like, hey bestie kind of became my signature greeting on LinkedIn. And it's not some term that I made up. It's not something that is like very unique. A lot of people use those terms on other platforms, but I never saw it on LinkedIn. It really became my signature greeting / hook. I guarantee you, if I started my post without hey bestie, people will think something is wrong. I'll probably get DMs like, are you okay? But I also knew that this was something that was very catchy because when I was in a LinkedIn Managed Creator program for a few months, my LinkedIn manager told me that their LinkedIn team actually checked out my content. And the thing that stood out most to them was my hey bestie. They thought that was genius. And my LinkedIn manager at the time suggested that I even put it in the bio of my LinkedIn profile because that kind of became my signature hook and greeting, and I became known for that. However, I got way too excited thinking that this would transfer to other platforms. And I remember one video, it's kind of funny when I think about this, and I love my community because they're always going to keep it real. I tried to say, hey bestie, in one of my videos and then would do the content. And one person commented, it was like, no, Dupay. I'm not feeling that. And then I remember maybe one or two other people saying like, I don't really care for the hey bestie thing. I like it better when you just go into the content. So I took it seriously. And yeah, it wasn't like hundreds of people saying it, but it only took a few people for me to realize, man, it's not resonating, which is quite weird because when you think about the term hey bestie, it's just more laid back, right? But it resonated on a professional platform, and a laid back platform like TikTok, they're like, yeah, no, we're not really feeling that. But I took and I said, you know what? That's okay. This is just going to be the greeting that I have, that signature for LinkedIn, and I've just kept it on LinkedIn. However, even though I am not able to transfer my signature greeting across other platforms, I am able to transfer my visuals, my aesthetics, my tone of voice, and that allows me to increase my engagement across multiple platforms. So all in all, when all of your social media platforms, your website, and everything that you put out there matches visually and in tone, it builds more credibility and trust with your audience. Not to mention, it just looks professional. Now that you have these 3 tips to create brand consistency for your brand, I want you to go ahead and check out your top 3 social media platforms and pinpoint which areas that you can tweak. If you found these tips helpful, be sure to like and subscribe, and also go ahead and comment below one area that you're going to be focusing on for consistency. I'd love to hear your share.